Hey guys, welcome back to for StarCraft 2 Strategy, your number one location for step-by-step strategy and tutorial videos. Today we're going to take a look at a Protoss strategy. We're going to be looking at a 3 Warp Gate and Stargate pressure versus a MMM Terran player. What I just said there was versus a Terran player who's going for Marines and Marauders, and then eventually medevacs. You're going to go ahead and pull out this strategy that involves getting 3 warp gates, getting a Stargate, getting some void rays at your opponent's base, and using those warp gates coupled with the void ray and a pylon proxy next to their base to put some pressure on them and get into their base. Basically, that's what you're gonna be looking at. I don't know, that was a really convoluted sentence there. I'm not quite sure if it made as much sense as I hope it had. But anyways, yeah, we're going to be looking at 3 warp gate and Stargate pressure versus a Terran going bio. So basically the game we're taking a look at today is between White Raw is our Protoss player and the Terran player is I Love Milky. Very interesting name. So taking a look at the build order, starting out with the pretty basic stuff by getting that 9 Pylon. Got to be following that up with a 12 gateway, dropping that just about now. So yeah, basically what we're going to be doing in this game is using those 3 warp gates, and we're going to be doing some proxy pylon action right outside of his base. And then with getting vision from the void ray by pushing up over the ledge into his base, we're going to be warping in units inside of his base, using the void ray to counter any marauders, and then taking out the marines with the zealots. It's basically the idea behind what we're going to be doing here. Pretty strong, works pretty well if you do it properly. Going to be a little micro intensive. You got to be careful with your zealots because marauders, obviously with concussive shells, are just going to kite zealots all day, and marines can even kite zealots all day. So it's really leveraging the power of the void ray, and then using the zealots as a devastating force while they try to take out and or avoid the void ray. Basically getting them in a tough position, trying to pin them in between the 2 units, making the decision again to either try to kill that void ray or to deal with the zealots in their face. Basically is what they're going to be dealing with there. So it's a pretty nice 2-pronged attack. Again, air and ground forces is what you're going to be hitting them with, and it's going to work pretty well against a Terran opponent who's going for that Marine Marauder early game aggression themselves. So moving inside of the base here, we did see that first Marine coming out, and we saw a Tech Lab being dropped onto that barracks. So in seeing that and not seeing a factory drop down, that kind of tells us that he's going to be going for that Marine Marauder build. If you take a look at a Terran opponent's base at this stage in the game, and this is what you see in Orbital Command, 1 refinery and a barracks with a Tech Lab, you can be pretty certain that they're going to be going for a Marine Marauder thing. Another dead giveaway is that lack of second refinery, because you're going to need a second refinery if you're going to be going for a mech build by building factories, or if you're going to be going for a quick Banshee. You're definitely going to need the gas from the second refinery. So moving in, seeing this Tech Lab on the barracks, as well as that 1 refinery and the lack of the second, kind of tells you at that point that they're going to be going for just that 1. No, they're gonna be going for that bio ball. That's what it's going to tell you. At this point, we haven't seen those 2 additional barracks, but again, we can be pretty sure because of those clues that I told you about, the 1 refinery, the barracks with the Tech Lab. That's pretty much a dead giveaway right there. So taking a look at what we're doing here, we got that gateway at 12, and then after the gateway came up, we went ahead and got our Cybernetics Core. We're going to be creating our second Assimilator and saturating that. We're going to need a lot of gas because we're going for this quick void ray. Dropping that Stargate right now at about 30 supply. Also going to be getting our second gateway, and a third gateway is going to be coming shortly thereafter. So we're kind of spreading our attention. It's a little bit of a dangerous position at this point because if he hit us right now, we could be a little vulnerable. I mean, as you can see, he's got 2 Marines and a Marauder, and what we're looking at is just having 2 Zealots. But we're using the fact that we have the scouting information with the Stalker here, like getting this vision. Basically what you're going to want to do is if you saw this force pushing up against you, if you saw that early aggression and they started moving right here, once they got within your vision, you're going to want to pull your Stalker back. Okay, well he just has the probe there, so I said all that for nothing. If you did have the Stalker there, you'd want to pull him back once you saw him moving in, go into a defensive position and try to use that high ground advantage to pick them off as they come in. Because that early aggression, I have won numerous games pushing against a Protoss player with just a couple Marauders, couple Marines, and a SCV to build a bunker inside their base. Works very, very well. So again, the point of that whole tangent was that going for this build, going for this strategy is going to make you a little bit vulnerable early early on, like really early in the game. But once you get rolling, once you get that void ray out, and you get those 3 warp gates up, you're going to be sitting in a really good position. So as you can see right now, we're pushing forward with the units we do have. We're dropping that proxy pylon right now, right outside their base. Any of these maps that have a base with the ledges around the edge that you can drop a pylon outside of and then use vision to warp inside of their base, that's really going to be beneficial. Now, quick little note here. Someone might be wondering why he's attacking his own pylon. That is not an accident. It's not a misclick. Basically, he's ramping up his void ray right now to the highest level of attack. So that way, once we warp in these 3 zealots and we move in, we're going to have a very, very powerful void ray. Going to take down these zealots pretty quickly. The Terran players stim packing, trying to do some damage against these zealots. Bad job of microing though, because he didn't pull back his units right there. And by the time we warp in our second wave of zealots right there, he's pretty much going to be overwhelmed. Basically what we were looking at here, this isn't always going to be the case. You're not always going to take them out the second you go in with this, but putting on this pressure is going to force them into a really tough defensive position. In this particular game, our Protoss player here, White Raw, was able to take out his opponent. You can just see how devastating these zealots can be with these void rays. Just so much damage. And that's, at this point, the Terran player's pretty much gone all in. He used all of his SCVs to try to defend, which isn't really the brightest idea considering that there were these void rays sitting on the board. Obviously the SCVs can do damage to the zealots, but the void rays they're not going to touch. The Terran player goes ahead and calls good game. So really quick video right now. I just wanted to pump out some few quick strategies. Wanted to show you something pretty fun that works pretty well against that Marine Marauder build. Again, the real danger of this particular build of teching straight up to that Stargate is you do have the threat of an early push with just a handful of Marines and Marauders. But again, you're going to be using basically forward moved scouts. If you aren't in this particular map and you don't have the advantage of a Zelnaga tower in between the 2 bases, you'd probably want to leave a scout somewhere outside their base so you saw that push coming ahead of time so you could prepare for it. But if you don't see that push coming, you can go ahead and follow through with this build here. Taking a look at the build order, again, we start with that 9 pylon followed up by that gateway. Now once that gateway was built, we went ahead and dropped our Cybernetics Core. Went ahead and got a second assimilator after that point. Our first assimilator came in as usually with that first warp gate being built. So we went for that Cybernetics Core, built our second assimilator. Once that Cybernetics Core comes up, you want to go ahead and start researching that warp gate research, which is normally somewhere over here. And then you want to go ahead and drop a Stargate. Make sure, of course, you saturate both your assimilators because you're going to need a lot of gas. Drop in that Stargate. And now as far as getting these additional second gateways, I know I didn't make note of it when they came up. When you're going for that warp gate push, basically the timing's going to work out so that if you start building your additional gateways, when the warp gate research is about 3/4 of the way finished, that's when you're going to have it so that the gateways come up the second the warp gate research is finished, and you can go ahead, turn those into warp gates, and use them instantaneously. But in the meantime, I'm going to be pumping out void rays. Go ahead and try to get that proxy pylon outside their base and use the strength of the void ray from the air coupled with Zealot ground pressure to take out that Marine Marauder ball. So again, guys, this has been for StarCraft 2 Strategy, your #1 location for step-by-step strategy and tutorial videos. If you guys like what we're doing here and you like what you see, please do go ahead and subscribe. Keep watching and keep owning, guys.